This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out. Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevric 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here. Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries.
They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Faisal with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrek 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrecht 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds, too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just...
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women... No, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans, and the Great Spirit, and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So... to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is... well... I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danon mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danons again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danons probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memory started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorn's connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds...
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renis Alma stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships the people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Right.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renis Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renis Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the Thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the Great Astral Spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the Great Astral Spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony. Considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed, I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Hevrick 35 to talk like a normal person?
Is the Renus Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrick 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more. That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Everett 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will... Well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Are you sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrecht 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything that
Listen,
we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Xion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay. I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Xion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Xion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist, Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the Hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dana.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is...
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renin graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something. So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renis Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength, it's that it's sentient too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renis Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up. Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that different?
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes turn out to be merely skin deep.
what do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renin rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Danans started pressing their own.
Renins, Danans, astral art users, mages. The world is full of labels used to divide and separate people.
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical talent or being good with their hands. Not differences so much as characteristics.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with time, people will follow. And then, perhaps one day,
There will no longer be any need for the example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in. We can set the example. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used to help people. Where that's the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else? We can show them ourselves.
I wonder what Helganquil civilization was like at its zenith.
I can imagine that'd be something you'd take an interest in.
There's no question it must have been advanced, like none either world has ever seen. We could surely stand to learn a thing or two from such a people.
I get that you're itching to delve into its history, but we've got bigger fish to fry right now.
Put a pin in it, and you can do all the research you want when you retire.
I can think of worse things than a retirement dedicated to research. As for whether Rena is amenable to an aging specimen...
It's a little early to be giving it serious thought just yet.
A man can dream, though. A man can dream.
Oh, we didn't say there's anything wrong with dreaming.
In your case, Dohalim, dreams have a habit of spiraling into something else.
You'll need to stay with us for now, though. You're too helpful to let retire.
Why do I feel this is less of a compliment and more of an ultimatum?
Just a friendly suggestion.
Looks like we warped into that pit of astral energy.
Helganquil! Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled. In that case, we've got no choice.
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling on. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game.
I'll smash you!
Here I Astral Art? Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here I come! Not in your dreams!
Chocolate Slack! Inferno Force!
Now!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Citizen! You don't mess around!
My turn! I'm not
Certainly
done!
not.
Look out! Vacuum Blade! My turn! Chocolate Slack!
Here's a healing art!
Resonate with the end!
That'll bring you down!
Rending you apart!
Bloody
On your
Hold on to your heart! Here I come!
Take this! There!
Freeze
Could
left!
do without you! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! My turn!
benediction light.
Not on my watch!
It's over!
Reload!
What
is yours?
I can carve through armor!
More with that kick!
Do it! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Came between heaven and earth!
Blood.
I'm ready! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! I'm ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Alphen!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you!
Ignite!
Annihilation!
Take this!
Radiant now! Astral energy!
Say no more!
Alphen,
I can't forgive them for what they've done, but I hate killing them. They don't even know why they're fighting. How does that even make them any different from the Danon slaves?
Perhaps. However, if we don't make a choice, the guilt of not doing anything will be that much worse.
Yeah, I know. I hate for it to be like this. But if it happens again, you won't find me hesitating to act.
I wonder if we're going to get attacked again.
If we lose heart now,
Hey! Hey, I just realized something!
Is this about dinner last night? I didn't realize those ingredients were off.
What? No! I mean, wait, you fed us rotten food?
Rinwell, the point.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've seen. There are regular Renans inside them, right?
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least, I think that's the idea.
Right. So it kind of begs the question then, why are they made so huge?
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of space.
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now. And?
Connect the dots, Law!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renans to work alongside the Helganquil?
Huh. But if that's true, what would that mean?
It would mean... just that, I guess. But still, don't you think it's kind of interesting?
Not hugely. Hey, Kisara, well, I've got you. What's on tonight's menu? Because I was thinking maybe meat.
Get him, Hoodle.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hoodle.
Ow, ow, ow! Seriously, what the hell? You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zeugles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dana, let alone up in Lenegis.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't their fault.
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Renans. We altered the original creatures to suit our own ends.
First, people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst, huh?
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them one day.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to do?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep them somewhat under control.
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they pose.
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zeugles aren't so different after all.
I thought there'd be more dirt and rocks and stuff underneath the hollowed ocean, but it's all artificial.
I would imagine they're remnants left behind by the Helganquil, seeing as there's little actual land remaining.
It's incredible. Do you think it stretches all the way down to the center of the planet?
Hey, these guys built Lenegis, remember? They probably did this in a weekend.
If they had the power to create things like this, did they really only use those immense capabilities to serve the Great Spirit? Or rather, was that the only use the Great Spirit let them use their capabilities for?
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Okay, here I go. Shockwave flash!
Your reflexes will not serve you well here.
Take this! There! There!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and funneling to me!
Bloody Rongo! On your mirage! Raining fire!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Alvin!
It's time to end this
No
battle!
further!
I'm right beside
I'm
you!
not done! Ignite!
Here I go! Lightning into the shadows!
I'll face you!
Magic is...
In an instant! Impact block!
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me.
We haven't seen anyone here except Helganquil. Looks like this place really is their home planet.
The true citizens of Rena. What a shame that they have become nothing more than puppets to the Great Spirit. To think of the promise their accomplishments once held. They had the potential to be great indeed.
Do you think we could have got along with them? You know, if we had met under different circumstances. Like
all of us, you mean? I suppose it's difficult to say for sure. We don't even know if they would see us as being on an equal level with them or not.
I think we may have had the chance once. before the Renin Great Spirit came along and changed everything.
You and Alphen both share an optimism. A strong willingness to believe in hope.
Do you think that's foolish?
On the contrary, I should like to take a leaf from your book myself. In tragedy's aftermath, hope is all we have.
Just look at the size of that thing. The Helganquil's technology certainly is impressive. And they don't seem to do things by halves either. In the past 300 years, oh, even before that, just how many people, Renin or Danon, do you think have ever seen this?
Regarding the past 3 centuries at least, I'd say there's a good chance that we're the first. Also, while I get that it's impressive and all, I'm just amazed you're still standing around gawping at it at a time like this. Sometimes I wonder about your priorities.
I can understand where he's coming from. More to the point, does anyone know where it leads?
What do you mean where it leads? To the center of the planet, of course.
And that doesn't strike you as sounding just a little bit, oh, I don't know, far? There has to be a quicker way to get there, right?
Yeah. With all this technology at their fingertips, it seems pretty unlikely that they'd make that kind of journey on foot. There must be some kind of device somewhere. Let's see if we can figure out how to use it.
Borrow one of their contraptions? You're either brave or out of your mind.
If it works for them, there's no reason it wouldn't for us. Why make things harder for ourselves?
You know what he's like, Law. Once he gets an idea in his head, there's no talking him out of it.
I wonder how the Renins avoided being mind-controlled like the Helganquil. Do you think it might have something to do with the fact that they were originally Danons?
I'd say it's likely. Which is pretty ironic when you think about it.
Ironic?
The Renins have committed grave injustices against the Danons. But it was all of their own volition, not because they were being controlled. Now, it turns out they themselves were once Danons too.
Which must mean that the root of their evil isn't the Great Spirit, but something inherent in all of us. Our free will.
Now hang on, though. It was that same free will that allowed Xion and Dohalim to choose to fight alongside us. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to beat hatred and forge all those connections we've made. Free will is what saved us, right?
Law's entirely right. In any case, it certainly can't hurt to look on the bright side every now and then.
Yeah. Where there's hope, there's a way.
What'd he say?
He said, without a doubt.
Is this a dead end?
It appears this whole room functions as an elevator. That apparatus there is likely what's used to control it.
What the? Where did they come from?
Less worry, more action. Concentrate.
Here I come!
It's no fun!
Your wings won't save you from me. By the power of this one's mine.
Come and face me! You're mine!
I'll smash you!
You're finished! Here I come! Shockwave strike! Win! Take this! Soaring light spear! You're finished!
Everlasting dust!
By the power of flame.
Shockwave flash! We turned the tables on it!
There are still more left.
Right! No time to hold back!
Glacial steel. Pierce the ether.
Crush!
Freeze laser.
Soaring light spear!
Magic is there. Only land.
You're mine! Severing up!
Now,
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade!
Not more!
this one's mine. A wailing Dancy lightning. Now,
Look
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! Not more Sugals?
Keep calm and take them down! Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Elfin!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you!
More
incoming!
Now! Take this! Elusive Deity! Soda! Hitting Pile Driver! Take this! Here I come! I'm not done!
Here that'll bring you down!
I'm ready! River!
Astral energy!
Say no more! More?
Raging
Take this!
There! Go!
Severing Wing! Not today! Here I come!
Do it!
Shock River!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Not more?
Dirt!
I'm not done! Rising Falcon!
Healing blow!
I need to.
Be careful not to
You need to be healed.
That was mighty fall.
Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
A chain between heaven and earth!
Take this!
A wailing dancing lightning!
You're finished!
Into the shadows!
Split! Next!
As impressive as always.
Here I hope that wasn't true.
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen Xion actually look closer.
Turn in hell! There!
Sleep now.
Rending you apart!
Explosion!
Win!
In here!
Here I come! Lunar
Will
Roller!
this help?
You're finished!
Now we're not
Win! I owe you one. It's over! More?
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire!
Here I come! Begin!
Where are you going?
Severing Wing! Rising Falcon!
Chain between heaven and earth.
I'm ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Hurry,
More? I'm ready!
Damn it!
I'm not
Out
done!
of ammo! Eat dirt! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! My turn! Start up! Elusive Deity! It's go time! Severing Wing! It's over! Rising Eagle Ray! You're mine!
Now!
I'll thank you!
There you go! Don't let up!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! I've still got a ways to go!
Even in such a harsh environment as this, there are still creatures here?
You think they're native to Rena? Or could they be Zoogle somehow?
Whatever they are, they're dangerous. Watch yourselves around them.
You think that pit stretches all the way to Rena's core?
That's true. And if we go down, we should find the Great Spirit at the bottom.
We could out here. Be on your guard.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Not today!
This one's mine!
Sharply flat! I'm not done!
Insects should stay on the ground.
We got flyers!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours! Sharply flat! Sharply flat! Try this! Infernal turret!
Here's a healing
No
arm!
escape!
Far enough! Armor won't save you!
It's time!
Lunar corruption!
Back in
Raging
blade!
storm!
Not much longer to go.
Come on! One final push!
Let's do this together, Alvin.
I'm ready! Don't leave! Throw them away! Now!
A chain between heaven and earth! Here!
Sharply flat!
A wailing dancing light!
Burn!
Here!
Catapult! Wind!
Divide! Dance in the wind! Air!
Mirage!
Back into the wind! Chain between heaven and earth! A wailing dancing lightning!
I'm ready! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
I can carve through armor!
bring you down.
Is that a healing art?
It is. I can't ignore your pain. I'll try to be more careful. Leave the ensnaring to me.
I'm not done! There!
I'm ready!
Kisara, frozen!
Hammer!
Not a
My
chance!
astral energy! Right then!
Shockwave flash!
Searing flame! Reload! Holy land! A battle between heaven and earth!
Seismic rush to prepare to be seen!
No escape!
Glacial spear! Here's evil!
Win!
Freeze!
You're mine!
I'm ready!
Totally! In an instant! Impact block! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
Soaring light spear!
Holy land!
Shockwave flash!
Battle between heaven and earth!
There!
Away! Down to your
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet and... This is the power of the blazing sword!
I have a bad feeling about this.
I shall ensure you survive this.
Severing down! Shockwave flash!
A spotted beast hunting anyone? Give me the strength to march on! Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah! And pummel it to me!
Let me free you of your...
Here I come!
Allow me to help you. A wall to shield from calamity. Barrier!
Glacial spear! Pierce evil! Freeze!
I can carve through armor!
I could do without this pain! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Breath of life. Feel my will. Take this!
Healing circle! Do it, Illuminate! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Elfin!
It's time to end this battle!
Thanks for the healing. Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too.
Take this!
Our arts are being interrupted.
Now! Demons descend!
Flashing fang!
I've been hit with something!
So even a masochist has his limits. Not feeling so great.
Resuscitation!
No rest for the wicked.
Mega ray! Alright! It's time! Holy land! Finish
you! Elusive deity!
Wailing beauty of
Carve
lightning!
through armor!
No escape!
Soaring!
This one's mine!
Too much!
The fluidity of your movements is simply incredible.
You picked the wrong fight! No further! Shockwave flash!
Beauty of lightning!
Infernal torrent!
Can you take it?
Take this! No escape! Shockwave flash!
Lightning orb!
Here I come!
Lightning descends! Thunder blade!
Take this! I'm not trying! Not a chance!
Holy land!
Anything in armor!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Thank you, Helene.
I only did what any other would.
I think you're nicer than you let on. Sleep well.
Don't suffer inside anything.
Eat this! Heal! Shockwave Slash! Try this! Inferno Torrent! I'm ready! Dueling! In an instant! Impact Block!
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
Hey! New equipment!
I have a bad feeling about this.
Can't get out of this! Now we're not coming up done! Resonate with the earth!
That'll bring you down.
Shockwave
Your
Slash!
reflexes will not serve you well
Come and
here.
face me! Vacuum Blade! Shockwave Slash! Double Demon Fang!
In a bind?
I'm not done! It's time!
Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! On your knees!
Eat this!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Got it!
Well done! By the power of water! Lightning annihilation! Lightning guardian! Here!
Negative gate! Revising focus!
One more! Spirit flame!
On your come!
Annihilation! By the power of flame! Finish without a trace!
You're mine!
Lightning orb! Illuminate the dark!
Your blade moves like silk. I just let my instincts take over. How fascinating.
As impressive as always.
And here I hope there was improvement.
Hold up. Is this as valuable as I think it is?
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
If it's in the sky, it's mine.
Wind!
By the power of water! Annihilation! Radiant!
These things really get on my nerves.
I never miss!
No escape! It's got flyers! Hold nothing back!
Let a marksman handle it.
There! All yours! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Resonate with the earth! Crush! You're finished! Stardust!
Take this!
Soaring Light Spear! I'm not done! You're mine! It's over!
Now for something special!
I'm not done! Soaring Light Spear! Do it! Totally! In an instant! Impact Block! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
You're on! Take this! Shockwave Slash! You're finished! Totally! In an instant! Impact Block!
By the power of
No, you can't! Strike! Rising Falcon! I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more! That astral energy was incredible!
I gave it everything I had.
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Here I come! Burn in hell!
I never miss!
Shockwave Slash!
I think I'll pass on the handshake.
Armor won't save you! Begin! Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! You're mine! Okay, here I come. My turn!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop. Outstanding form.
Severing wind! You're mine! You're mine! Raising you apart! On your knees! Not today! Air pressure! Shockwave flash! Try this! Heal my weary companion! Infernal turret! Here I go! Severing wind!
I'm not being interrupted.
Armor won't save you! They smite. Vacuum blade! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! No further!
I'm ready! Lightning condemns!
Wind! Try harder! My turn! Take this! My turn! My weary companion. This one's all mine! Any more of this and I'll burn out! Rising Phoenix! You're mine! You're not done! Resonate with the earth!
The fluidity of your movements are simply incredible.
Rising
Do it!
Phoenix!
Kisara! Frozen!
Hammer!
I think I'm getting stronger.
These structures don't look like anything built by the Renans. Or even... what we saw in the Forbidden Zone.
Perhaps this is the true architectural style of the Helganku. This one will be difficult to predict.
I can carve through armor!
That view's too much.
You're mine! Shockwave flash! That buzzing is driving me mad! Infernal turret! Here I come!
Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
You're mine! Come on!
Do it! Oh, astral energy!
Say no more! Got it!
Well done!
This one's all mine! Burn in hell! Now we're not... Shockwave flash! Try this! Shine! Radiant ray!
Now!
Victory is within reach.
Dig deep, and we can do this!
Effective fervor.
Maybe show Kisara a little kindness, huh?
She is strong. She can handle it.
You can be really dense, though, Helene.
Not done!
Elusive being!
I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
I can feel my precision improving. This won't be easy.
Don't be such a pessimist.
Not today! Thanks! Shockwave flash! Can't move!
Don't give up! Blaze of spear! Here's evil! Freeze lancer! Here goes!
From beyond,
Illuminate the dark!
soul with love. Resuscitation!
Searing flame! Reload!
Will this help?
Take this!
Rise already!
Win!
This one's mine!
Illuminate the dark!
Take
Force! Holy glimmer! Holy lamp!
in a bind! You're mine!
A chain between heaven and earth!
You're mine!
A willing shockwave of lightning!
Rotating
Now! Astral energy!
Say no more! Got shine!
Well done!
Shockwave flash! Vacuum blade!
Banana! Let's go!
Allow me to help you.
Illuminate magic!
The flame inside me! The earth!
This one's got your name on it!
Act to action!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Brace yourself! This one's tough!
Illuminate!
Raising you up! Save you!
By the power of
You're mine!
Holy Land!
Heal my
Stay away from my friends! I owe you one.
All right.
You're mine!
armor won't save you!
Lunar corruption. Holy lash. Seminar Aqua. Heaven and earth.
Captivity!
Gravitas.
You're mine! Bad, right?
Yes, Alvin. Very bad.
I don't feel so good.
Flash aid. Energy. Up and out.
I owe you one.
Can't be happening! Charge like that could easily be fatal.
This way. Well, I'm here to stop.
I'll bring you back from death to
Leave
this.
the charge to me.
My downfall.
Resuscitation. Annihilation.
I couldn't make it in time.
You're mine! Try harder! My turn!
An astral art?
That's my cue.
Shut him down!
Not today!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with life. Now you see what I can do!
Death shall not
Try
be
this.
forgotten.
Resuscitation!
Benediction life.
Back into the fray.
Okay, here I go!
No further!
Holy annihilation. It's time to finish this. Die. Consuming wildfire. I'll heal you all. Lightning to death. Thanks for the healing. Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too. Freeze
Heal
laser.
my wearied companion! Sure! No arts are being interrupted!
I'm ready!
Astral energy.
Say no more!
You sure showed them.
All in a day's work.
Those thorns.
I'm not letting them get in our way!
This'll make us even more formidable.
Don't get careless.
Don't tell me!
Bring you down.
Here I go!
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance. Pesky airborne scoundrel.
Sounds like a job for yours truly. Astral energy.
Rage.
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and the funneling to me. There, and again. Sleep now. Mega
Behold! The Earth's pulse! Tecton! Ascension! Resonate with the earth!
Here I come! Burn in hell!
Stalagmite!
Here I come!
On your knees!
Wind!
You require a hand.
Here I come!
I'm ready!
Shockwave flash!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! You don't mess around!
Certainly not.
By the power of God! Vanish without a trace!
Wind!
I'll grind you into dust!
Devastation!
Elusive deity! Soaring
Here I come! Devastation! Blow away! I'm not done! You're finished!
Can't get out of this!
Lunar corruption! Holy land! Lunar blast!
You're mine! There!
I'll grind you into dust! Here, let me help you! These legends I sing, they smite a blackened blade!
You're mine!
One more!
Shockwave flash!
Execution!
You're mine! There!
I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Shot!
Well done!
Here I
Pierce
come!
the evil!
You escape! Ignite! Here I
In a
come!
bind?
You escape! Shockwave flash! Try this! Infernal blast!
Evil! Astral energy!
Say no more!
You sure showed them!
All in a day's work. Brace yourself! This one's tough! You're mine! Crush! You're mine!
That'll bring you down! You head!
I can carve through armor!
You escape! Hurricane thrust! Stardust! Lunar rondo!
Lightning orb!
You're mine!
Illuminate magic is there! Gemini Holy Land!
Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
You're finished!
Lunar corruption!
Shockwave flash!
Power of water!
Infernal fluid! You're mine! Take
Here's
this!
a healing art! First aid!
Okay, here I go! Dragon!
Lunar corruption!
Try this!
Holy land!
Nothing rings!
Let me help!
Take this!
You're mine!
First aid! A wailing Gantia lightning! By the power of the
Wind!
In here!
Here I come!
Get out there! That'll bring you down!
Struck!
Photon blast! More where that came from! Thunderblade! Healing between heaven and earth! Glacial spear! Thanks for the healing! Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too!
You're mine!
Not on my watch!
This one's all mine!
Will this help?
Shockwave coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Searing flame!
Shine!
By the
Radiant
power of
light! Force of regeneration!
Photon blast!
Demon Blast!
Let's go!
Dragon Swarm!
Thunder
Try this!
Open!
Repairs is free from regret.
Photon
Explosive
Thrilling
Ring!
performance.
You're mine! Severing Ring!
A wailing healing lightning!
Carve through armor!
Sleep now.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
Force of regeneration!
I can't hold on much longer! Annihilation!
Now I can let loose! Take this!
Take this!
Searing tempest!
Can't move!
Don't leave me! Will this help heaven and earth?
Severing Ring!
I'm ready!
Wailing dancing!
Blow them away!
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
Don't get careless!
Don't tell me!
Here goes!
Here I come! Wind! can feel my power growing!
Go no further!
Harder! You're mine!
In a bind?
I'm not done!
Shining supernova!
Ignite!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough. Chain between heaven and earth.
Shattering to pieces!
A wailing guardian of standing
Armor
form!
won't save you!
And again! Chromatos field!
Severing Wing! You're mine!
Thanks, Kisara!
Stalagmite!
It looks like you got this one covered.
Explosive Ring!
Illuminate the sun!
Take it!
Holy glimmer! Holy lance!
Benediction
Here I come!
Between heaven and earth!
The flame inside me
A
yearns to be
wailing
let
guardian
free!
lightning!
Not today!
Behold! The Earth pulse! Tectonic vision!
Lunar corruption!
Take this!
Lunar blast!
Strike!
Illuminate the dark!
Shockwave flash!
Here's a healing arc!
Wind!
Holy lance!
Take
Spirit heaven and earth!
I'll smash you!
A wailing Dancy of white lunar corruption! I'm all propped up! I can handle it! Annihilation!
I'll grind you into dust! Dance on the wind!
Photon blast! I'll heal you all!
Take this!
Sorry.
Stay away from my friend! I owe you one!
I'll clear the dust from
I owe you one!
Sorry to trouble you.
Take this! Here I come!
I still
You
have to fight!
escape! This one's all mine! Ah! Dragon!
Lightning! Holy
This
engulfs you! I'm out of ammo!
Explosive
A
ring!
wailing Dancy of
They
lightning!
might...
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Benediction light.
I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
This'll make us even more formidable.
Brace yourself! This one's tough! Come one, come all!
Coming through!
Shockwave flash! I owe you one!
Grant me the strength to march on!
You must be tired of healing me. I'm merely doing what I can to help. Glad you're on us.
Illuminate the dark!
You're mine!
Use too much.
Nothing gets
I
by
never
me!
fit!
The shield from calamity can't get out of this!
Severing Wind!
By the
Don't
power
suffer
of
in
Dragon
silence.
Swarm!
Vanish without a trace!
Elusive deity!
Vacuum Blade!
Rotating pile driver!
Explosion! Photon
It's time!
I'm ready!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Ha! Burn in hell!
Shining
Here I
supernova!
come! I'm not done!
Lightning
There!
contained! Thunderblade! A chain between heaven and earth!
Here I come!
A wailing Dancy of lightning! Seal!
You're mine!
Shattering to pieces! Attack time!
I'm all
Now
done!
you see what I can do!
You're ready! Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade!
Perhaps we ought to recuperate for a while.
I agree. Fighting in this state would be reckless.
one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
You're mine! Shockwave flash! Negative game! It's over!
Lightning orb! Illuminate the dark!
I'm free! Why can't they just sit still?
Sion, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done. Now!
Sion!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes. Unmerry destruction.
There's still more to go. Here, let me
No
help.
further.
Take this!
Use too much.
Locked and red.
Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Where are you going?
The blade inside me yearns to be let free!
Severing
wind!
Bloody I'm ready! Kitara! Frozen!
Hammer!
Now!
Light astral energy! Help this!
You're mine! No escape! Shockwave flash!
A chain between heaven and earth!
Vacuum blade!
Wailing Dancy of lightning!
I'm not done!
Reload!
Severing wind! I'm not done!
Another incantation ruined.
Lunar blast! Back into the
Shockwave
blade!
flash!
Annihilate!
Severing wind!
Radiant
You're
blast!
mine!
Here!
Soda!
Can't get out of
Heaven and
this!
earth go!
You're finished!
And again!
Devastation!
Anything in armor is all mine!
You picked the wrong fight! Now! Shockwave
I'm
flash!
out of ammo!
Severing wind!
Holy land! This one's mine! See my handle?
Carve through armor!
In an instant! Impact clock!
Hey! Poodle's quivering! I think we're about to be real lucky!
Gotta break through!
Chain between heaven and earth! Burning!
Not today!
Shine your radiant light!
Severing wind!
Generation!
Here I
I
come!
can't hold on much longer!
I owe you one.
Is that a healing arc? It is.
It's over!
Can't ignore your pain.
Do it!
I'll try to be more careful.
Take this! Here I come!
Lightning! Lightning
this!
orb!
Our arts are being interrupted.
You're mine! Severing wind!
I'll fix you under holy land! Where are you going?
I'm not done!
Armor won't save you!
Strike!
Lunar corruption!
You're finished!
Gemini Aqua!
This one's all mine! You picked the wrong fight!
The power of water!
Sorry. I didn't want to put you out.
What are friends for if we can't depend on one another?
You're right. I'll bear that in mind.
You're mine! Enough of air pressure!
Field! Here I go! More and again!
Rending you apart!
Burning!
Take this!
Take this!
Illuminate the dark!
Take this!
No further!
No escape!
Holy land!
You're finished!
Between heaven and earth! Outstanding form! Gravity of lightning!
You're mine! I'm not
Let's get you all out of the way!
I'll smash you!
Here I come! Try harder! Not a chance!
Rending you
Not a
apart!
chance!
Primed and red! That'll bring you down!
I'm not done!
Another incantation ruined.
Here I come!
The enemy wields arts too.
We'll
I
soon see
have
about
no
that!
limits! Dragon Swarm!
Supernova!
Explosive ring!
Benediction light.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
I'll heal you all!
Not today! Heal!
Photon
Vacuum
heal!
blade!
Illuminate the
Now I
dark!
can let loose!
Glacial spear! Pierce evil!
Wind!
A thrilling performance.
Here I come! I'm not done! Take this! Totally! In an instant! Impact clock!
To achieve such harmony.
Brace yourself! This one's tough! I can carve through armor! Stardust! Negative mine! You're finished! A wall. Shield from calamity. I'm giving you more of that. Shockwave blast! It's over!
Being interrupted.
Lionheart!
That'll bring you down.
Eat dirt!
Illuminate the dark.
There!
Holy glimmer. Holy
Dragon
red.
Swarm!
Now we're not.
Get from the way!
Chain between heaven and earth.
Thanks! Explosive ring!
They smite the black blade.
Here I come!
No further.
Severing wing! Here I come! Shockwave blast!
Negative gate. Rending you
Take
apart.
more! Here I come!
Now you see what I can do.
Take it! Severing wing! Here I come! This one's all mine! Ignite! Dragon Swarm!
Break this night.
Explosive ring!
Shine. Radiant light. Force of regeneration.
Between heaven and earth.
It's over! Now I can let loose!
Lightning.
Now I can let loose! Stardust!
Not beyond fury.
Here I come! Severing wing! Take it!
Regenerate.
Stardust! It's over! Okay,
No
here I
further.
go!
Shattering pieces.
You picked the wrong fight!
Where are you going?
Negative gate.
Double Demon Fang!
Lunar corruption.
Rending you apart.
It looks like you have this.
I'm ready!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
I've got a really bad feeling about this.
Heal! Thanks!
Lunar
Here I
corruption.
come!
Now you see what I can do.
Lionheart! Wind!
Shield from calamity.
You're finished! You're mine! Wind!
In here.
Stardust!
I'll be
Devastation!
lightning orb.
Heal my weary
Not today!
Prepare to be sealed.
Severing wing!
Less talking, more doing.
Stardust!
Ready to go.
Devastation!
Holy red.
You're mine!
Heaven and earth.
Wind!
Can't get out of this.
Take this!
In here. I know you, Tion.
Healing is what my arts do best.
All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
Attack time. Explosive ring.
By the power of
Try harder! You're mine!
Now you see what I can do. Shine.
This one's mine.
Severing
We're
wing!
not in there with the others.
Here I come!
Regenerate.
Now I can let loose!
Then tonight's meal is on you. Keep going.
You're mine!
In a bind.
Shockwave blast! Severing wing! This one's all mine!
Lightning orb!
Ignite!
More where that came from!
Dragon Swarm!
Illuminate the top!
Try this!
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
You're mine! Soaring blast! Stardust! You're escape!
I can carve through armor.
You're...
Lightning orb!
Damn!
Lightning
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Shine. Radiant light. Force of
Severing wing!
regeneration.
You're mine!
Regenerate.
Lunar Rumble! Now I can let loose!
Illuminate the dark!
Devastation!
Holy
Stardust!
Negative
Try
gate.
harder!
Our arts are being interrupted.
To be let free!
In here!
There I come!
I'll be saving
Damn!
this one!
Here I
Explosion!
come!
Lightning orb!
Here I come! I'm not done!
Now!
Rigma!
Astral energy!
Say no more.
can feel my precision improving.
Hey, new equipment!
Retreat if you know what's good for you. In a bind?
Try harder! My turn!
I can carve
Time to cross blade!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop. One at a time. Will this help?
Explosive ring!
Blah, 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 magic! Healing circle! Holy land! A chain between heaven and earth. You get the point.
Dragon Swarm!
I'll be saving this one. Vanish without a
Now or never.
Explosive ring!
Benediction light.
All right, it's showtime.
Being interrupted.
Outstanding form.
Armor won't save you. Tornado drive.
Glacial spear. Here's the evil.
Crush!
Radiant
Sovereign wind!
Between heaven and earth.
Regenerate.
A wailing annihilation.
Devastation!
To the fray. Behold, the earth pulse. Tectonic vision. Breath of life.
You're mine!
Heal my wearied companion.
Illuminate
Try
the
harder!
dark. Healing circle. Holy
Beyond
quiver.
chance! Hurricane! Searing dam!
Careful not to overdo it.
Simply incredible.
This one's all mine!
Resonate with the earth.
Do it. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
That's some power you wield.
You're the one who did the heavy lifting.
Brace yourself! This one's
down.
tough! Ignite!
Illuminate the dark. Come forth. Holy land. Between heaven and earth. Each stir.
Explosive ring!
Now.
Totally! In an instant! Impact cross! We work well together.
Like a finely timed wall.
Where are you going? Illuminate the dark. Ready to go. Holy flame of fury. Burning heaven and earth.
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me.
Got it! I'll leave it to you!
Cross and rend.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here's a healing arc.
Ha! Ignite!
First aid.
Now I can let
This
loose!
one's mine.
Dragon Swarm!
Chinese supernova. By the power of flame. Vanish without a trace.
Explosive ring!
Your style is beautiful to observe.
You just watching or what?
No, I'm still in this.
I can't imagine what we'd do without you, Renwell.
Who, me? That's a little much, don't you think?
I'm serious. You're a lifesaver.
Another incantation ruined. No further.
Devastation! You're finished! With your flames and my technique?
We're stronger together than we are apart.
Really bad feeling about this.
You picked the wrong. Come and face me. Demon breath of life. Heal my weary companion.
Careful. Where did you go?
Our arts are being interrupted.
Here I go.
Try Can you take it?
Mega ray.
I'm ready. Kisara, Commander of Heaven. Phoenix Cyclone. Now. Heal my weary companion. Get it done. You're finished. Burn in hell.
It's in your hands now.
Stay away from my friend! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! My turn!
I'll bring you back from death.
Take this!
Bring you back from death to
Severing Wind!
Lightning Orb!
Here I come! Chakra Strike!
Pain between heaven and earth.
Now! Here I come! Severing Wind! I'm not done!
Holy land!
Try harder!
Between heaven and earth.
Here I come!
Take this! Lightning!
Take this!
First aid! In here! Radiant!
Radiant rare! Take this!
Lunar Collection!
Severing Wind!
Illuminate the dark! Magic attack! This one's mine! Holy land! A chain between heaven and earth.
Burn! Negative gate! Dragon Swarm!
Sleep now. Here!
Try this!
Let's get you all tucked away. Here's a healing arc.
Explosive ring!
First aid!
Everlasting shot!
Supernova! Here!
Now see what I can do!
Lightning strike!
Try harder!
Here's Portal!
I'm not done!
Chain between heaven and earth. Wailing Dancy of lightning!
Time to let it rip!
Another incantation ruined.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here's a healing arc. Supernova! Up and up, let's go!
Take this! Severing Wind!
Illuminate the dark! Transform healing
Severing
water,
Wind!
holy land! Chain between heaven and earth.
The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Try hard, my turn! Ha! Eat this!
A chain between heaven and earth.
Through armor! I'm not
A
done!
wailing Dancy of
Shock
lightning!
Infinity! You're finished!
I'm grateful.
I'm ready!
Kisara, frozen.
Hammer!
I've been doing really great lately.
What do you think this place was for?
What the hell? Are they asleep?
No. They appear to be well preserved. However, they are all dead.
Dead? So this is a mass grave?
Looks that way. However, none of them appear to be Helganquil.
Bear in mind that Renans were originally Danans, who were remade and sent to live on Lenegis. Knowing that, they would have needed a place to perform the procedure somewhere.
And that place is here, I assume.
So what you're saying is that all of these are Danon, or rather, Renan bodies?
Most likely, yes. It must have been abandoned for one reason or another.
There are so many of them. They were all taken away, but never given the chance to wake.
What is that thing?
Something we have to fight if we want to get across, it seems.
Be careful! It's huge!
What is with the huge lumbering lately?
It's no ordinary Zoogle. That much is damn sure.
Watch yourself. All bets are off when it comes to this thing. Strike!
Primed and ready.
Stardust!
Where are you going?
Take it!
Lightning
Devastation!
Lightning
Get
is
it!
here!
Stardust!
There you go!
Finish!
Don't let up!
Hurricane Thrust!
The walls is sheer
Soaring
from
Light
calamity.
Spear! Easter!
Get on in there!
Dragon Form!
Its head is its weak point? We'll need to bring it down somehow to hit it.
In that case, let's start with the one in the middle.
Now you see what I can do!
I'm not done! I owe you one!
Amazing! Heaven and earth!
Stardust!
A wailing fancy of lightning!
Devastation!
Elusive
I'm not
deity!
done!
Those
Devastation!
gods shall break this rock you fire ahead. In a bind?
Lightning orb!
You're finished!
All right, it's showtime! Glacial spear! Here's evil! Obtain the flame heaven and earth!
Here I come!
A wailing fancy of lightning!
Regeneration! Regenerate!
Now I can let loose!
Without a trace!
Double demon fang!
The everlasting dark.
Thunderfield! Explosion!
Negative gate!
Explosive
Whoa!
ring!
Hey, what is burning? It looks like you got this one covered!
Win! Here I come!
I never miss! Photon! Lightning command!
Escape!
Thunderfall! Healing arm! First aid! Holy land!
You're mine!
Chain between heaven and earth!
My turn! You'll pay for that! Devastation!
Shine!
You're
Radiant
mine!
light! Force of regeneration!
You're finished! Not here!
Resonate with the earth! Rending you apart!
Double fang! Surely! In an instant! Impact block!
Shattering of pieces! Attack time!
By the power of water!
Explosive ring!
A wailing fancy of lightning!
Elusive deity!
Strike!
Demon blast!
Here's evil!
No further!
Take
I'll
this!
heal you all! Lightning orb! Bananas,
You're
let's go!
mine!
Thanks!
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
The enemy is going all out! Lightning attack! Magic attack! Holy land!
You're mine!
Annihilation!
Shuffling flash!
Mega ray!
It's over!
Supernova!
Rending you apart! Bloody howling!
Strike!
Illuminate the top!
Not now!
Now you see what I can
Holy
do!
land! Chain between heaven and earth! A wailing fancy of lightning!
Rending you apart!
up, everyone! The flame inside is yours to be let free! Here I come!
Be careful not to overdo it.
I'm sorry. We go.
What in the world?
Dohalim! I'm...
All right. I'm still standing.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Come forth! Holy resuscitation! I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
For the wicked.
A wailing resuscitation here! This one's mine! I'll be saving this one!
Crescent flash.
A change between heaven and earth!
Here I come!
A wailing transient lightning! First aid!
Resonate with the earth.
They're not playing around!
Resonate with the earth.
I'm almost in.
I said almost. Don't get carried away.
Severing wind! You're mine!
Negative gate.
Glacial spear! Pierce evil! Illuminating dawn! Come forth! Holy glimmer! Holy
You
light!
can't get out of this.
I'm not done! It's on! You're not today!
Here's
Stay away from my friend!
Bathed in blood.
Dragon
Rending
form!
you apart. Bloody
You're mine! Severing wind!
Negative gate. On your knees. I'm grateful. Sorry to trouble you.
Searing gale!
A wailing banshee of lightning!
Heal my weary.
Let's move!
Here I go! Here comes the big one!
I'll smash you.
This is pretty handy! Here goes! Hold on to your arm! Here I come!
Rending you a bloody hell.
Lightning condensed! Thunder!
Rending you apart.
Where are you going? Holy land!
Bloody howling.
I'll pick you up!
Hurricane slurp!
Recover!
Mirage! Try this!
Illuminate the storm! The power of flame! Holy
Then
land!
Here
Holy
I come!
Is that a healing art?
It is. I can't ignore your pain.
I'll try to be more careful.
Can't get out of this.
light astral energy!
You're mine! Burn in hell!
Breath of life. Heal my weary companion.
I don't even know the word defeat.
Take this!
Lightning condensed!
Take that! Ridwell! Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis!
The hell was that thing?
Probably something that was made here and somehow managed to survive, even after all this time. Not that there's any way of knowing now.
What's wrong?
Oh, I just suddenly found myself contemplating what might have happened to the sovereigns that were meant to emerge from the crown contests.
What do you mean?
You see, the winners of the past crown contests were all strong astral arts practitioners. Furthermore, that enemy we just fought appeared to be composed of several human bodies. It was certainly nothing one would find in nature.
You're saying those were the remains of the winners? That they forgot who they once were?
I'm merely saying it's a possibility.
That's absolutely gruesome. How long had the Helganquil been at this?
It was Rena's great spirit that made them do all of this. Anything to get its astral energy.
We're not gonna jump down, right?
I certainly hope not.
After hearing Donalim's suggestion, I'm honestly not sure what to say.
I assure you all, I was merely stating the possibility.
So, looks like the Helganquil have been engineering Zeugles too. Why doesn't that surprise me at this point?
The creatures we've been encountering here have been a little different to what we're used to fighting, but I'm pretty sure they're Zeugles too.
Do you think they were engineered using creatures native to the area?
Indeed. However, based on the current circumstances, I would guess these Zeugles are all that's left of the planet's fauna now.
You mean there might have been native owl species here once upon a time too?
back in that other room? Did the teleporter fail or something?
Something feels off about it.
Look! Everything's upside down!
The furnishings are, at least. No, you're right. The whole room's flipped on its head.
So what was once down is now up, and vice versa. I suppose the teleporter reversed our orientation then.
We've reached our destination.
You see anybody around here who could use our help?
Yeah!
Hey.
Yeah. Thanks.
Huh?
Well... All right.
All right.
I get... Whew. Got it.
That was quite the little adventure we went on.
Why are you staring at me?
I could ask the same thing.
So this is how the Sovereign and Maiden are supposed to look. You two go great together.
Law, come stand between us.
Oh, sure! You want me to put something white on as well?
Of course she doesn't.
Take a closer look, Shion. It's a miracle.
What are you talking about?
This outfit, it's already got blue accents on it.
So I see.
I love how much amazing food we get to eat even when we're out on the road.
Me too. Especially compared to what I used to have when I was still a slave. This is paradise.
It's amazing what good food can do to keep your hopes up. Nagal used to say all the time that the power of food is subtle, yet profound.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? For whatever reason, I find I don't worry nearly as much when I've got a full stomach helping me out.
That's why you shouldn't be such a picky eater.
Huh?
She's right. You always leave food that you don't like on your plate when you're done.
Come on, what's the big deal?
Back in the day, I couldn't think about leaving any food. It was such a waste not to eat at all. You needed every last scrap of energy.
Exactly. Even when my brother and I didn't have much to eat, we all did what we could to make it taste good and enjoy what we had.
That definitely explains a lot about why you cook the way you do, Kisara.
Dohalim, I bet you don't know what any of that's like. You must be used to food being handed to you on a silver platter.
Sometimes it was gold.
You didn't shy away from that at all.
Although, there was one experience that does come to mind.
Oh?
When I first learned that the food I ate originally came from animals and fish, I was rather taken aback.
You just ate whatever was in front of you without even thinking about it?
That's a silver-spooned elite for you.
Your cooking has really improved, Shion.
It's because of you that I understand what makes it so fun. I'm glad everyone seems to enjoy what I make too.
I've noticed a disturbing trend that after it's your turn to cook, our ingredients tend to run really low. What's up with that?
That is a good point, Law. There's a weird difference between the amount of ingredients she prepares and how much food actually gets served. Curious. Very curious indeed.
I don't know. Isn't it pretty normal for veggies to shrink a little when you fry them up?
Or maybe she eats all the bad batches herself so we won't notice.
Come on. I wouldn't do anything like that.
Then how would you explain the difference?
Ahem. I have a theory that I wish to propose.
What is it?
As we all know, Shion here can have quite the appetite. I imagine she often taste tests her own food as she prepares it. By my eye, it would appear that her footprints are leaving deeper impressions as of late. Far be it from me to level such an accusation, but the facts lead me to conclude that...
She's been snacking while she cooks.
And yet, she still looks so slender in her clothing.
Yeah, I'm kind of envious, actually.
Wait a sec, are you guys trying to say she's...
I'm what?
Nothing?
Nothing. Shion, about that fight just now.
Sorry about that. I was careless.
I didn't come to criticize you. Just please take better care of yourself.
You don't need to worry about me. In case you forgot, I can't exactly die anyway. It's like how you used to not care about getting beat up because you couldn't feel pain, and then I was the one to patch you up. It's the same thing.
You're right. That is how I used to be. But this isn't the same.
Then what do you mean? How is what's happening now different from what happened then?
It's different now.
Look, if you mean because you can feel pain again,
It's because I don't want to see you getting hurt. You're right. When I couldn't feel any pain, I put myself in all sorts of dangerous situations. I didn't listen to anybody's warnings, and I made a lot of people worried for no good reason. It was foolish. This isn't about you and me being able to take pain. I don't want to have to see you get hurt, Shion. It's too much for me to take. Is that a crazy thing to say?
No, it isn't. And I definitely don't like seeing you get hurt either, Alphen. We can't expect our enemies to show us any mercy, but I will do my best not to throw myself in harm's way out there either. How does that sound?
I'm sorry if I sounded harsh earlier. I didn't mean to. I just really want you to take better care of yourself.
I will. At least, for as long as I can.
Shion, could we talk a moment?
I thought you had something to talk about. I was waiting on you.
Not really. Why? Should I leave you alone when I don't?
No, it's fine.
We used to really have to force these conversations when we started talking to each other, didn't we?
To say the least. Hey.
What is it?
Do you think you'd like to make something together?
Make what exactly?
Just if you wanna make dinner together. What did you think I meant?
Huh? Dinner? Oh, dinner! Yes! Yes, of course! Dinner! Right.
What did you think I was talking about?
No, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what did you have in mind?
Well, do you recognize these ingredients?
This is... Wait, is this?
So you remember? That's right. We're going to fix the very first meal we ever had together. Although, I remember it not being well received when we had it.
You still remember that, huh? I'm sorry, Shion.
I'm just teasing you, Alphen. I picked this recipe because it's easy to make, and I thought it would be a good choice for dinner, too. Anyway, let's get to work. With both of us making it, we should be finished in no time.
I never thought we'd end up eating alone like this again. Just the two of us.
Yeah. So much has changed when you look back on it. Well, I guess maybe not what we're eating, but still.
No, I'd say even that's changed too, in a sense. Our meals are a whole lot better now.
True. We've both come quite a long way in the culinary arts.
That's not exactly what I mean. How do I put it? It feels like eating together is a lot more enjoyable than it used to be.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Even after our battles are done, when Dana is saved and our mission is finished, we'll probably still be sitting down to dinner like this, night after night.
Yep, I doubt that much will change. You've always got to eat at some point.
I hope our dinners will always feel like this.
Maybe not exactly like this. Hopefully we won't still be camping out.
Oh, no, not at all. I meant in a nice, warm house. One with a roof over our heads and a proper fireplace, instead of an open campfire.
And real chairs instead of these logs. Nice plates and silverware on a big dining table. Oh, and a proper kitchen. That'd be nice too.
And when it's time to fix dinner, we'll be in that kitchen.
Standing side by side.
Whoops. Looks like we made too much. I don't think we'll be able to finish all this.
Yeah, you're right. I'll see if anybody else is still awake. I'd really hate to have to throw it away.
Side by side, huh?
I'm looking forward to breakfast. Did you get enough sleep?
Did we really just spend that much money?
Is this the barrier that's keeping the Zoogle in that Nath mentioned?
Looks like it. Our Zoogle pal should be on the other side.
This barrier is weird. It looks old and half-finished. Plus, he said it was okay to break.
I mean, we won't need it anymore once the Zoogle's gone, right? So what does it matter? Did they really think that barrier was enough for a Zoogle like that?
It was. That thing was sturdier than you give it credit for.
Really? So that's the Zoogle, huh? This should be a piece of cake.
Don't get careless, Law. What's that huge Zoogle over there?
Let's see what... got.
Armor won't save you! Severing wind!
Is it hot? Defend it out again!
Soaring drop!
Go for the weak point!
Eagle ray! Explosive ring!
I couldn't make it in time.
Regenerate!
Chinese
From beyond! Imbue this strength to shatter it with rough pieces!
Attack time! By the power of
yet.
flame! Finish without the scheme!
Shot! Brilliant escape! Dragon swarm! Now I can let loose! Okay, here I go! You're mine! Take this! It's over!
A thrilling performance.
With the earth!
That'll bring you down!
Stalagmite! Crush! Eat this!
Rending you apart! Lightning orb!
Bloody
Banana!
Amazing.
Try harder! My turn!
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
Hold
I
on to
really
your
don't.
heart! Here I come!
Try this!
Lightning!
Explosive ring!
Light astral energy! Illuminate the stars! Come forward!
So you clamor for my true power?
Holy lightning! A chain between heaven and earth!
Okay, here I
Away
go!
low!
Everlasting darkness.
Negative escape!
Behold! The earth pulse! Tectonic vision!
Illuminate the dark!
Power surges.
Thanks for the healing.
Watch yourself, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Swarm!
Don't mind if I do!
Here I come! Dragon swarm! Try this!
It looks like you got this one covered!
It's wide open!
Won't escape me.
Okay, here I go!
Now you see what I can do!
Severing wind! Take this!
Leave the enemy's arc to me!
No complaints here!
Take this! Rock dust! You're on! Take this!
Take this!
I'm not done!
I never miss!
It's over!
Eagle ray!
Take this! Shockwave strike! It's over! The flame inside is yours to be let free!
I'll heal you all! Expert coming through!
Dragon swarm!
Healing circle!
Try
Holy
this.
land!
Now I can let loose!
Outstanding form!
Sorry,
Don't whip up! Here! By the power of flame! Don't mind if I do!
Elusive
More
deity!
where that came from!
Not done yet!
Illuminate the dark! There you go!
Can't get out of this!
Severing wind!
Heaven and earth!
You're mine!
Here's a healing orb!
Here I come!
First,
Now you see what I can do!
It's over! Severing wind!
power of flame! Finish without a further
No escape! The fluidity of the move is simply incredible. Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Here, let me help.
Thank you.
Negative gate! Come forth! Holy Glimmer! Reload!
Explosive ring!
Holy Land! Don't leave me! A wailing ammo! In here! Confiscated! Resuscitation!
Not done yet!
Back into the fray!
Now! Take it!
That'll bring you down!
It's almost too strong! Then I'll split it open! Be my guest!
Illuminate the dark! Holy Land! A chain between heaven and earth!
You're mine!
And wailing Gantia lightning!
Here I come!
And that's my will! Flare tornado! Illuminate the dark!
You're mine!
In a bind?
Holy Glimmer!
Chocolate flash!
Here's evil! Both take care! Freeze laser! Poodle!
Stay away from my friend! Here I come! This one's all mine! Burn!
Take it! Take this! Elusive deity!
I'm not done!
Hitting pile driver! Anything in armor is all mine!
Without a trace!
Soaring blast!
You're mine!
A
Dragon
wailing
Form!
Gantia lightning!
Try this!
Sleep now!
Shine! Radiant light!
Explosive ring!
Regeneration!
Between heaven and earth!
Okay.
A wailing Gantia lightning! Got it! Now's our chance!
Resonate with the earth!
Take it!
Stalagmite!
Start up!
Watch yourself. I sense incredible...
Lightning orb!
No further!
Hold on to your arc! Here I come!
Here comes a big one!
Not on my watch!
Elusive deity!
Lightning condemned!
No escape! Try harder! Not a chance! Not a chance!
Heal my weary
Illuminate the blah blah blah!
It's on!
Holy Land! A chain between heaven and earth! A wailing here!
My turn! Easter!
benediction light!
Double Demon Fang! Heal! Try this!
Shining Supernova! Into the shadows!
Explosive ring!
Whoa! Hey! One at a time! Power of flame!
You'll pay for that! Here I come!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Abyss!
Now you see what I can do!
Resuscitation!
Severing wind! Start up!
Resonate with the earth!
Holy Land! A chain between heaven and earth!
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Roll away! Remaining flash! Roll away! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Burn in hell!
Forgive me. This is my fault.
Glacial Spear!
Dragon
Here's
Form!
evil!
Try this!
Freeze laser!
Explosive ring!
I'll bring you back from death abyss!
It's gonna attack!
Right, watch out!
Negative gate!
That's gonna smart. Healing circle!
I owe you one!
I'm
Now! Take
sorry.
it! Now I won't let loose!
This one's mine!
Captivity! Benediction light!
Try harder!
That's gonna smart.
Shattering
Searing
of
flame!
pieces!
One final push.
Let's finish this off!
I'll do my best not to disappoint.
I'm out of ammo! I'm all stuffed up! Where would that came from? Annihilation! Light astrolator! Lightning storm! Power of flame! Thunder blade!
They smite
Take it! Strike! Here I come! Start up! Is this it?
Burning strike! Laser spear! Pierce evil! Freeze lancer!
Now this is what I can do with life!
Here I come!
I'll heal you all!
Let me free you of the power!
I still got to fight with enemies!
Take this!
Go get
In a bind?
Chocolate
Both
flash!
healing illuminate
The
the
flame
dark!
inside
Magic
me
is out!
yearns to be let free!
I owe you, Keon.
Healing is what my arts do best.
All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
Okay! Dragon Form!
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
Glacial Spear, this one's mine! Lightning condemn! That'll bring you down!
Down from the wing!
And stop! Here's a healing heart! Confiscated! Illuminate the dark! Power flame! Vanish without a trace! Lightning condemn!
Try hard, not a chance!
Armor won't save you! Explosion!
Show the flame inside me! Yours to be let free!
Glacial Spear! Here's the
Explosive ring! Okay,
It's weakened!
here I go! Not today! This ends now! Severing wing! Okay, here I go!
Illuminate the dark!
Shattering
Pieces! You do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Huh? What's a letter doing in a place like this?
Hell if I know. I highly doubt that Zoogle was trying to guard it. Still, somebody must have left it for some... Law.
Huh? What's up?
Something up?
It's from my old man. My dear son, I wonder how things will be between us by the time you read this.
In any case, I first want to congratulate you on all that you've accomplished. Making it this far requires a strong body, fine technique, an unwavering spirit, and most of all, friends that you can count on. If you have all of that, then I, as your father, have nothing to worry about. Those things together will always keep you on the right path. That brings me to what I really wish to discuss with you. As with all of us, there will someday come a time when you'll be a grown man who can and must think and act for himself. Whether you'll live in a world where blood will no longer be spilled between Danins and Renins, or when that day arrives, nobody can say. But even if peace still eludes us then, you'll have to decide how to live in this world. Listen to others with an open heart, but don't be swept away by their words. Always live on your terms. One more thing. If I ever see you again, I hope to say this to you in person, but neither of us knows what tomorrow may bring. Know this. Whatever you think of me, and what I've done, your mother and I love you very, very much.
And there's nothing in this whole world that will ever change that. Your father, Zephyr.
Zephyr.
I can't believe he's only telling me all this after he's gone. What am I supposed to do with this?
Zephyr once told me that living freely meant being your own master. I think he wanted to make sure you know how he felt one way or another. What you do with that knowledge is up to you.
But that still doesn't explain why his father left that letter for him here, of all places.
Don't forget, we were led to this place. We may well get some answers if we go back to the source of all this.
We've reached our destination.
Hey.
Hey.
I guess... No way. Damn.
Whew. All right.
This is...
Thanks.
You okay, Law? You seem kind of quiet.
I'm fine. Just feels a little weird returning home now that my dad's not here, I guess. Oh man, sorry. I didn't mean to bum you out too.
So I guess that means you'll be visiting your dad's grave while you're here. Right, Law?
His grave? What are you, nuts? There is no grave. The Rena would only destroy it the moment they found it.
Back before Calaglia was liberated, dead slaves would be dumped in mass burial sites. Either that or thrown on top of a bonfire. We got used to cremating our own to deny them the pleasure. Then we'd sprinkle the ashes from high up as a way of returning them to the motherland.
It's all we could do. That's the ceremony we had when my mom died, too.
But that was back then, right? Calaglia is liberated now. There's nothing to stop you from raising a true grave anymore.
I suppose you've got a point. Once you've been doing something for generations, though, it sort of begins to take root. It's a tradition of its own now.
My dad wouldn't want that anyway. Cheap and simple, he'd say. Besides, I can't treat him differently than my mom. They might not end up meeting on the other side.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Wow, imagine. The two of them reunited, back home where they belong. They're probably watching over us right now, at one with great Dana. There's something almost poetic about it.
That's why I can't afford to screw up. If I know my pops, something as paltry as death won't stop him from coming to box my ears. Still, better than being left alone, I guess. Better than never knowing. You hear that, Dad? I'll make you proud. You'll see.
Looks like we get to sleep with a... roof over our heads.
Right!
Sax-Leo Temple. Is...
Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but... You sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, You know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew!
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion. How are you and Alphen getting on these days?
That's a little out of the blue. Why do you ask?
Sorry, it's just... I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. I mean, a lot's changed now he's got his senses back and all.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess... it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but... I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late, you know. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you, I'd take things as they come for now.
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Shion. But that doesn't stop you from knowing that I care about you, right?
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty clear you weren't my biggest fan.
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then. Not that that's the point.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renan and Danon are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters is blind obedience.
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that. There must have been something more.
Once, maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the... An ambush?
Sorry. Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
What about you, Alphen? Bugs don't creep you out?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mind you, if times get desperate enough, I've been known to eat them.
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning are we talking?
Dohalim, I don't think he was talking about cooking them.
Hey, a lizard! I never thought about this until now, Alphen, but doesn't it get hot wearing that armor all the time? You feel heat and cold again, don't you?
Admittedly, yeah. It can get pretty toasty in this thing.
Is it hard when your back starts to itch?
Oh, you bet. Plus, my shoulders get stiff wearing it, even if it's not all that heavy.
Kisara looks like she manages all right with her armor.
Armor takes a strong body and a stout heart.
Spoken like a true guardsman. Not that I really get what you mean.
The more I think about it, the more I realize what a pain it must be. Like, what do you do when you need to take a leak?
Ew!
That part can be a bit of a pain, yeah. More things to take off.
That sucks, man. Wouldn't it be easier if you just walked around outside of your armor most of the time instead?
You never know when the enemy might attack. As tempting as it might be to take it off, it's not worth getting killed over.
So basically, you're screwed if you ever get attacked while taking a dump. Right, Rinwell?
Are you doing this on purpose?
Looks like we made it here in one... piece.
That was quite the little adventure we went on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Just great.
Cheers!
Cheers!
What?
Nice try, you two. Better luck next time.
Never. Why?
Wait. Something's wrong.
I couldn't catch it. I'll always be alone. How could I... Oh, please. I'm so lonely.
Oh no. This is just like what happened before. Alphen!
I'm alone. I'm all alone.
What can I do to get her to snap out of it? There aren't any thorns this time. Oh, I've got it!
Alphen?
Shion, you're not alone. You've got all of us. And it wasn't just one bouquet either. There's also this one from me. So please, don't give up. We'll fight this together. Shion!
You dummy! That's not what I was upset about. How many times do I need to tell you not to blindly rush into things? That said, it does make me feel better. Even if your bouquet is just a weapon named after one.
I'm just glad I could help. And I made another one to go with it, so it wouldn't be lonely either.
You never cease to amaze me, Alphen. Seriously.
Feeling better now, Shion?
I'm sorry I lost my cool like that.
Don't worry. It's not like I have any room for criticism.
Being a grown-up isn't easy, is it?
Looks like we made it here in one piece.
I hear a voice. Somebody's asking for help.
Yes! Excuse me!
Hey!
Really now?
What?
I see.
Very nice.
Dohalim? The line of... researchers is... getting longer.
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this before accepting.
Hey, Rinwell, tell me about your parents. What were they like?
They were kind. That's the part I like to remember. They could also be strict, though, especially when it came to magic. I never understood why I had to work so hard to learn magic. Why we couldn't just be done with it and live openly like everyone else. Needless to say, that didn't go over well. Of course, if I'd had known that one day I'd be doing this, I would have taken my studies more seriously. What about your parents?
Same deal. Run through the mill. Told constantly that training was the only way to survive in a world like this. It got bad enough that I ended up running away and siding with the Renans of all people. And now, I've got that training to thank for being alive.
I know how that feels.
The first time we met, you risked using your magic to stop me from kicking my dad's ass. You could have done anything else. You could have ignored it. So, why?
Yeah, I guess something about Zephyr reminded me of my own father.
You don't say. So, did your pops and mine look a lot like each other?
Not really. Not at all, in fact. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt a resemblance, I guess.
Wow. Well, I won't pretend I understand, but I'm glad. Your dad must have been a great guy.
He was.
Maybe it's the snow soaking up all the sound, but something about Cislodia always feels mysterious to me. Solemn, almost.
When it comes to solemnity, I'd say our own Octalina Palace is no slouch.
I won't argue with you there. Still, that azure tint of the shadows on the silvery white snow, it has a certain indescribable quality.
Indeed. It was boorish of me to even suggest such a comparison.
All I know is it's freaking cold. Still, more pleasant now that the locals aren't quite as frosty towards us.
Well, excuse me if I'm too frosty for your warm self.
Oh, come on! You know I didn't mean you. Besides, really, I'm the one who...
How about we stop getting hung up on the past for a change? Take what you've learned and put it to use in the future instead.
An unexamined past can be just as dangerous in its own right.
Better that than obsessing over it like a certain someone I know.
Kisara doesn't mince her words, does she?
I could say the same thing about one or two of the other women around here.
Tell me about it.
I think I'll refrain from commenting on this one.
Hootle, I've got some dried fish for you. You want some?
Forget that. Doesn't some tasty red meat sound better, boy?
Hey! Stop trying to coax him away with treats. Get your own adorable sidekick if you're so desperate for one.
He appears to enjoy being the center of attention.
Funny how things change. He and Rinwell used to be joined at the hip, or shoulder to talon.
It's not just Hootle who's become more trusting. Isn't that so, Rinwell?
They do say pets and their owners act alike. I suppose since we've been together, I've done my share of coming out of my own shell too.
Well then, I guess with you and Hootle, that makes us all one big happy family.
Sometimes when I'm deep in thought, Hootle will come over and sit next to me. I only wish I could actually pet him.
Oh, you will someday. You won't believe how soft he is.
Wish I had that problem. I'm lucky if I can so much as look at old Featherbrain without him trying to claw me to ribbons.
Really? He seems tame enough around everyone else. Maybe it's just Hootle's way of establishing dominance?
That's dogs, not owls.
What's going on when Hootle pecks at you?
I don't know. Like when I'm talking to Rinwell, it's like he's trying to muscle me out or something. Unless... Wait, you don't suppose I make him jealous?
Come again?
Ow! Get off of me, you insecure fluffball!
I rather think they make a good comedic pairing.
Look out!
What the hell is that? Hey! You want a piece of me?
Stay calm, Law. It's coming for us.
You just had to make... It's different. For us, didn't you?
What are you muttering about? Focus or you'll get hurt!
Don't worry, I'll have this wrapped up in a flash.
Razor Cyclone!
The weak
Lightning
spot.
Here!
Shockwave Strike!
Suffer in silence.
The flame!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me.
Good! And we'll leave it to you! You're mine!
Regeneration!
You picked the wrong fight!
Let the marksman handle
I'm in your deck, Dohalim.
Then tonight's meal.
That'll bring you down!
Back to the blade! Coming through! Ha! Mount! Scarlet Inferno!
Breath of life. Heal my weary
Try harder! My turn!
Lightning condemned!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Illuminate the dark! Magic advance! By the power of the land!
Shockwave Strike!
A wailing bounty of lightning! Sleep now! Get on in there with the others!
I'm not done!
Thunder Field! Resurrection!
Now I can let loose!
Hey, one at a time to the shadows!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
I'm going to need to use all now! Get toasty!
Burn strike! What did I tell you? Don't get in our way!
Healing circle!
Try this!
Tempt it!
Back into the fray! Lightning arrow! Raging cascade!
Go time!
Ha! Not today! What the?
Flames?
Watch out! It's changing its attack!
Forgive me.
Stay away from my friend!
Lightning condemned! Thunderblade! Now for some resuscitation! Let me show you what my heart can do! Nothing gets by me!
Dance on the wind!
Magic
Forgive me.
Sleep now!
There!
Let's get you all tucked away! Hear me! One last burning strike! Banana, let's go! Here's the evil! Freezelet!
Peculiar taste.
Sleep now!
Shine!
I'll
Radiant
be
light!
saving this one!
Force of regenerate! Regenerate! Now I can let loose!
I couldn't make it in time.
Is that a healing art?
It is.
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire!
From beyond. In a bind?
Far enough! Resuscitation!
Benediction light.
Try this!
Heal!
kinda smart.
Explosive ring!
I'm out of ammo. I'm all stocked up. Holy land!
You'll pay for that! No escape!
I'll bring you back from death to this.
The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Not a chance! Now, while it's reeling!
Take it down.
Burn in hell! You're mine! Does it hurt? Let loose!
Select. That'll bring you down. Razor Cyclone! Getting stronger!
Switch up its movements!
They're
Watch
not
out!
playing around!
Shockwave Slash! You're
Big waterfall! In here! This will come in handy. Raging Storm!
In a bind?
Up and out! Let's go! Dance to the wind!
Try harder! Not a chance!
The pain between heaven and earth!
Anything in
A
order
wailing
is
wind
over.
of lightning! Don't give up! In here! This will come in handy. I'll bring you back from death's abyss. You got company. Resuscitation! In here! Let me help.
Not done yet!
I'll smash you!
Seal! Glacial Spear! Pierce Evil!
Win!
Freeze Lancer!
Take this!
Seal! Let the Marksman handle this. Where are you going? All right! It's dinner time! Purge Malevolence!
Dragon Ball!
Big waterfall!
Can't move!
Don't leave me! Dance in the wind! Air thrust! A chain between heaven and earth! A wailing Banshee divine!
Nothing gets by me!
I'll bring you back from death's abyss!
Shine!
The
Radiant
flames will
light!
roar!
Full
Regenerate!
regenerate!
Not done yet!
Can't be happening!
Here I go!
Bloody holiday!
Seal!
Take this!
Healing circle!
Carve through armor!
Thanks so much! Mega Ray! Thanks for the healing! Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too!
In a bind?
It's too much!
Forgive me.
This is my fault. Freeze Lancer!
Resuscitation!
Here I go!
Another incantation ruined.
You're mine!
Annihilation!
Imbue this
I'm gonna need more of that medicine.
resuscitation!
Shockwave thrust!
Still got this
Try
fire
harder!
spear!
My
Here's evil! Here goes!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Freeze Lancer!
I can carve through armor!
Field!
You're mine!
I'll end maybe finish without a trace! In here!
This is looking no. Can't end here! You! Stay away from my friend!
Regeneration! Regenerate! In a bind?
Illuminate the
Can't
dark!
move!
Power of water! Holy land! Chain between heaven and earth!
Radiant light!
Can't move!
Some regeneration! Regenerate!
From beyond! Burning strike! Glacial Spear! Pierce evil! Freeze Lancer!
Forgive me.
Alright! It's
Not done yet!
here! Let me help!
You're mine! Is this it?
First aid! So much! Thunder Field! Lunar Corruption! Astral Energy! Gemini Ultra!
Now you see what I can do!
Mega Ray! By the power of water! This world! Searing Flame! Reload! I'll bring you back from death's abyss! Here's the Raging Cascades! I'll bring you back from death's abyss! In here! I won't give up!
Not done yet!
Whoa!
Take this!
One at a time!
Win! You're finished!
Poodle!
You're mine! Run! Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
No escape!
Great! That'll make things easier. Water this time!
Can't it just make up its mind? Try it, be honest, kid. I'll smash you! I'll blind you with your flame inside me! You're the let's drink you! Not today! Rending you apart!
There you go! Don't let up!
Dragon Swarm! Bloody howling!
Here! Let me show you what I have! Rise and shine! Grind and wrench!
Captivity! Catapult!
Stay!
Try it, be honest, kid! You may be strong now, but I'll never back down! I'm not done! Win! I can't move!
Win after energy!
Nothing gets by me!
This one's mine! Crazy cascade! I'm going to use all the power of my healing arms to accomplish
Soaring breath!
I won't give up!
Imbue this vanquished soul with love!
Dance in the wind!
Take this!
Feel!
Not done yet!
Benediction
light! I can't move! Heal! No further!
Lightning orb! Don't mind if I do!
Sparta!
Photon! Blah,
From
blah,
beyond,
blah!
imbue this vanquished soul with life! Resuscitation!
A chain between heaven and earth!
Here I come!
A wailing dance of lightning!
Dance on the wind!
Sleep now!
Reflect our sin! They
Hurry.
might blade! Execution! Imbue this vanquished soul with life! Resuscitate! Our arts are being interrupted! Shine! Radiant light! You're mine! Regeneration! Win! Regenerate! You're mine! Let us take to the fray! Resuscitation! Benediction!
Anything in order of thinking! Mega ray! I won't give up!
Ready to go! Execution! Stalagmite! From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with love. Don't be carried away! Resuscitate! Forgive me.